You're watching Caribbean Vibrations TV, and we're here at Canex 2018, and we're here with the one and only Mr. Freeway Ricky Ross. How you doing?
I'm well. You?
I'm good. I'm good. Thank you for taking some time out to speak with us. We've heard all the stories, and like you said, ask you anything straight from the horse's mouth.
Yeah.
You got involved in that crazy
Nothing to
drug
hide.
trade in the 80s. What kind of led you to that?
Poverty. I was trying to get away from poverty. I was running, like whatever it takes. Crook, hook, it didn't matter. I was even willing to die for it. I found out. I didn't know that at the time, but when I sit in my jail cell and I was thinking about my life, going back over my life when I was writing my book, it was like, why did you put on a bulletproof vest? Why was you carrying a gun? What are you doing these things for? So what I came to understand is that I put on a bulletproof vest because I felt that somebody might want to hurt me. And I had a gun because I might have to hurt somebody. So, when you live in your life like that, you're living on the edge. And I was on the edge. And it started off escaping poverty, but what it turned into was ignorance and greed.
Now, after all those things happened, you got sentenced. Some people don't know about the whole, unless they've seen the movie Kill the Messenger or read your book, they don't know about the whole Iran-Contra, because we watched Oliver North, all the things happen. Yeah. But how was Ricky Ross involved in that?
Well, what was discovered during my trial is that the guy who I was getting my drugs from, who became my informant, was from Nicaragua. They was ousted out their country, and the U.S. government allowed them to come to America, and these guys started selling drugs for the Contras.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's very heavy. And you see, there's a lot of things happening in all this space. Now, you got sentenced to jail, but while you're in jail, you had the opportunity to figure something out about your appeal. So how did that come about?
Well, first I had to teach myself how to read and write. I couldn't read or write, so I had to learn my ABCs, and learn how to sound out words and letters. And
sorry, I got to understand. So you did say you were illiterate, but how were you able to do all the things you were doing with that?
Well, I mean, you can be illiterate and sell drugs and count money. Really, in the drug business, the only thing you got to do is be honest, fair, and a hard worker. And not just drugs. Let me read for any business, because I'm having tremendous success right now in my other businesses. But in anything that you do, you'll have the same success. Because all I did with my court appeal is took the same principles that I used to sell drugs and started practicing law the same way. And that's how you see me today. Voila.
Now, ironically, the 3 strikes rule, which was put in by Clinton, was something that you were convicted on.
Correct.
What did you figure out as you learned to read and write and you started to read all the books? How did you figure out they screwed up?
Well, in my case, I sold drugs all over the U.S. I didn't have no particular place. I sold more drugs in L.A. than I did anywhere else, but the earth was my turf, pretty much. Well, the U.S. was my turf because this is my first time going out of the country. But I sold all over, Texas, Chicago, New York. I didn't care. If they wanted drugs, I got it to them. So when I got arrested, they took me from city to city to city and convicted me. So when you look at my rap sheet, I have all these convictions on there, but I've only been to jail one time. It wasn't like I had went to jail, I commit a crime, go to jail, do my time, get out and commit another crime. Go do my time, get out, and then do it again. That's 3 strikes. Mine was one continuous flow where I'm just going from city to city. The cops never arrested me. Nobody had ever told me that I was doing wrong. Basically bring you to your senses, like, wake up, you wrong. You driving drunk. Stop driving drunk. The same situation. So that's what happened, and when I showed them that the law wasn't made for a person, because almost the way they were saying it is that you could almost become a career criminal one day. You could wake up one morning, never sold drugs before, but you have a kid that needs a surgery, and you say, you know what, they making $100,000 on this block. I'm finna go over there and get me $60,000, $70,000 so my kid can get that surgery. So you go and you make 70 sales to different people. Technically, those are all separate sales, but it's one continuous spree.
I get it. Now, during your time in prison, you started to think about all the things and you did some changes in your life, and now you're an activist in regards to mass incarceration. Tell some people, because I don't think people really understand mass incarceration. They think it's like a buzzword, but it is a systematic problem with prisons. So how are you fighting that?
Well, really, in the U.S., it's really bad. I mean, I know prisons all over the world, you know, it has become a thing. Well, whatever America does, everybody else tries to follow. But in America, what happened is when they introduced cocaine to America, black men of America, a lot of us got involved. And once they no longer needed the money from the war, they came with these tough laws and just started rounding up all the young black males. I think right now we have like 600,000 black males in prison in the U.S. for non-violent drug offenses. And as you know, drugs is what they call a victimless crime. You know, you're not going to have anybody to come and say, "Oh, he hit me in the head with a bat, knocked me out, went in my pocket and got my wallet." No, it's not the case. And drugs is two grown, consensual beings that agree to do a transaction, and that makes it a victimless crime, because you're not going to come in and tell them, "Oh yeah, he sold me drugs," unless they catch you and they turn you into an informant. But normally that's not the case. So these are victimless crimes that they just basically going through the black communities, just rounding up large numbers of black males and almost railroading them through the system because they don't have money to hire lawyers, and they wasn't giving us bail. It was crazy. So what we're doing now is trying to stop this mass incarceration, saying that prevention is better than a cure. And even though we know prison is not a cure, you know, it's been proven not to be effective at all. But we're saying that it can be cured if we put in the right systems.
Speaking of the right systems, you're involved, you're here at Canex, and we know how many people have been put in jail for cannabis. That's a totally separate conversation. I want to talk two more things. I want to talk to you about your book, which I haven't a chance to read, but I'm going to read it. I know it's award-winning. What's the antecedent of the book? How did you meet with the author, and did you just start meet, and you started talking, and you wrote the book? How did it come about?
No, I wrote this book when I was in prison.
What?
Yes, I wrote this book. I had a life sentence without the possibility of parole. So I didn't know if I was ever going to get out of prison. I was hoping I would, but I didn't know if I would. So what I wanted to do, I said, man, you're in prison. You're not effective anymore. You're nothing. You're basically an empty bottle. You're something that all the substance has been taken out of it, and now you've been sit on a shelf to rot like an empty bottle. So then I started to say, how can you be effective? Because being in prison is one thing, but then being in prison and not being able to affect, you know, being effective is a whole nother one. So I started to think, how can I be effective? Teach the young kids about your life. Teach them what you went through. Show them how they could take those same skills that they're using in the streets and use them for legitimate business, if it's possible. And are these skills transferable? Are they transferable? So I started practicing them. First I did it with my legal case, and I won my case. I was like, damn, this stuff work. So then I said, will it work in business? So then I started writing a book. Then I started working on my documentary, which is on Netflix right now.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Number one on Netflix. Number one documentary on Netflix. And I saw that it really worked. And then I started teaching guys in prison who was getting out before me, and they would write back and tell me their results. And I said, wow, this stuff really works. This stuff is dangerous. You mean that now you can make $1 million a day, and it might be legal where they can't stop you? You can just come in and pretty much take over anything that you want to take over, and it's crazy. You know, it's like, you know, my movie is financed now. We'll be shooting hopefully in January, February. Got a great director, Reginald Hudlin and Kim Harding is helping me put it all together. I was the #1 story in Esquire magazine, 80th anniversary. I mean, I had some successes. I get to go around the country speaking. Look, I'm in Jamaica.
I was about to ask you,
listen,
what was it like? This is your first time coming out of the country.
I didn't even make it to Jamaica when I was making $1 million a day.
That's what I was about to ask you.
So now I'm able to come to Jamaica, you know. So it's a testimony of how it's working. Now, I'm not making $1 million a day yet. I had some good days, but not like that. So, but it is a testimony of how my system works. I'm also working on a show where I'll be helping other guys getting out of prison, help them put themselves on track.
It's very, very, very heavy. Now, what is it like your first time in Jamaica, taking it all in when you got off the plane, when you're just feeling the vibe of the island? How'd you feel? Well,
it's been cool. I mean, I like the Rio where I'm staying at is great. The only problem is they don't have no vegan food, you know.
Oh, you're vegan now, okay. All right.
Yeah, Jamaicans turned me into vegan when I was in jail. And then I'm over here, I'm like, oh, I know they're going to have some great vegan food over here. And I see everybody's eating everything over here. I'm like, don't they want to be healthy?
You got to hang out with the Rasta man them. They're the vegan guys.
I got to find the Rastas. Yeah, so it's been nice. I enjoy it. I look to do business over here. I see that the cannabis industry over here is going to be off the change. International market, which is going to be totally
legal.
Man. So I'm trying to get in Jamaica right now. I'm trying to figure out who and where I can fit in.
Okay, perfect. Now, is there anything else you'd like to tell our Caribbean Vibration viewers about your book and yourself?
You definitely should go and read my book. In America, they call it the Ghetto Bible. All the guys on the street are calling it the Ghetto Bible. So you hustlers definitely go get it. You non-hustlers, you ain't gonna like it no way. But it's definitely a book that should be read. Also, you can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Twitter, Instagram at Freeway Ricky, and on Facebook at Freeway Rick Ross. Peace.
And you're watching Caribbean Vibrations.
Oh, yeah, you can buy the book, too, at freewayRickyRoss.com. You can get the book, and you can get my T-shirts on there.
Okay. And you're watching Caribbean Vibrations.
Caribbean Vibrations.
Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it. Now, let me ask this question.
Caribbean Vibration.